Hello and welcome to another part of our tutorial in Kotlin Android Firebase Advanced Programming. In this part, we'll start working on our new activity, which is the core scrolling activity. First of all, I will make some modifications so it looks like the way we're working. This option here, as you can see, okay, the set on click listener and the block of code inside this block represents the action that we want the fab, the button here, the activity code, this one to execute. But if we want it to look more like how the way we were working in, we will create a fun on click fab view 2.0 view. So we will assign this action, yeah, more like let's put here instead of view V, because it's the view from here, it's okay. It will be more like we are used to work with. We're going to erase this section so it looks much more like that. And let's remember that the following step will be to come here and assign to the onClick the function onClick fab. Okay, if we do this and we execute the app, it will be exactly the same as before. The only difference is that we are using more familiar method like we were doing before. Okay. Now let me test it and then we'll keep going. You see, it's the same thing. Great. Okay, so what's the idea of scrolling activity? Scrolling activity is really that there is two sections, the one up here and the one down here, which shows different things. Okay, we can build activities based on pieces of sub activities called fragments, and we can add them in this section here. We can do that. Really, we can modify anything we want, but what the system gives us, and that's the main idea here, is that we will not use, we will try not to touch this section here, only to modify it as we want. For example, the toolbar, we will be able to add, for example, settings options and stuff like that. We'll see later how to do it. But the content, which is this down here, which is represented by this XML, okay, is free for us to work with as however we want. Okay, we can always, for example, change instead of, well, the nested scroll view, we have to leave it, but we can do it. So, for example, take a constraint layout, put it down here. Sorry, it's not. Here, sorry. I guess it doesn't allow me. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So this is a way to add constraints by code, okay? It's not much difference. Let's see how it looks like now from design point. Yeah, well, I added constraints layout. It is possible that because, let's try something else. Let's erase this and try to put it by hand here. Yeah, the nested control can only have one element inside at a time. That's why it didn't really allow me to put it in the beginning. Okay, so now I can add as much things as I want. For example, the text view like it was before, and assign it, tell him that to use most be like this. We can just define this 0 and 0 to make it in the middle, as well as this one here. And we can, well, for example, assign the text that we just had before. Okay, we go to strings here, and we see we have we already seen in the last video. I just put this ID large text, and I add it to here, for example. Okay, so it will look exactly the same as before. Okay, like we can execute it again and you will see what it will look like before. With the only difference that now it's gonna be in the center and I can add more things to my constraints layout. Okay, we can add other stuff inside. We can put some buttons. For example, move it downwards like this, if it allows. Okay, isn't really moving it, but here, well, we can add some other things. So I mean, a button again. We can add a button and tell him, okay, just assign yourself to yeah, and I understand. To the left and down. Why it doesn't really move anymore? Because the size of the constraints, as you can see, we put it as to wrap content, the height. But if we have match parent, we will try to match the size of the parent, and it will, well, it may look down, it'll be like try to occupy all the screen. The problem with the scrolling activity is that it doesn't allow me to add more things. Okay, it depends on, again, the constraint depends on the match on the content. If I want to force it to be in a certain size, I have to tell him the height, yeah, to be a certain, I don't know, let's put here 600 dps. Okay, so the thing is that right now, if I put a button here, now it doesn't. Now it allows me to put it in different positions. Okay, and I don't know, if we add an image, for example, and it asks me where to find the image resource itself. Let's put like a star. So the thing is that, again, this, and now I can do it. I can turn it to be at the certain distance from the edges. From it moved around. The same here. Well, the constraints are not really working very well, but fine. Actually, it's not my concern, because I'm trying just to show you how you can modify the subsections of the original constraints. So now we have the button, we have this, and down here we have this. You see how we move it? The star is down here. So initially, that's the idea of how we can work with this activity that has a certain section, which is the constraints layout here. But I can also tell you that when we develop applications for Android, we are always looking into much effective options for development. Activities tend to be built up by pieces of other sub-activities that we call fragments. Yeah, as the name says, a fragment is a piece of the activity. And what we tend to do is to just put different kind of fragments, yeah, inside these sections and play around with the fragments. For example, we want the fragment to be shown and the second fragment to disappear, and so on. Okay? So if we try to use fragments, which is an option, we should just create a new section here called, for example, a package called fragment. Let's put it, yeah, fragment. And for example, I will create a new fragment. Okay, when we create a new fragment, you can see there is a fragment here. There are also many kinds of fragments that we can create. Okay, we will create a blank fragment. And the fragment we want to call first fragment. It doesn't matter. We will allow it to create layout XML. We will not include the fragment factory method, neither include the interface callback. Okay, just to make it much simpler. If we execute this, you will see that it will create here a fragment file with a very simple onCreate function, which is very similar to the activity onCreate view, or onCreate, it's just onCreate view. And here, down here, we'll create a section which is empty, only has hello blank fragment. We will go to the content section here, and we will try to put our fragment inside here. how do we do that? If we go here in the common and we choose fragment as the fragment container and we add it here, it will ask me which fragment from the list, which is has only one, to add. If I choose OK, it will add my fragment, even if you don't really see it here, the first fragment from fragments. Okay, so now instead of adding our, let's put these constraints, let's tell them 0 to be in the center. Great. So now if we want, for example, if we execute now this, you will see that in the middle, instead of showing button text view and the star down there, it's going to show really the fragment we just created. So what we're doing really is just dividing the app in pieces. Now the hello blank fragment is this one here. And here, for example, I can work freely. Again, I can put here constraints layout. Let's take this out here. Let's put this here. Okay. Let's, well, it's matching parent. Great. Now I can now slowly put all kind of things. For example, a button and then another button. Okay. We're going to add this button to the right and up. We're going to add this button to the up and right and left. Sorry. Now we have two buttons on the edges, on the corners. If we execute this, we will see the buttons here and here, not up there, but down here. You will see. Oh, sorry, it's not. I guess it's not. We have to tell him to be at the certain distance from each other. No. Wait. Let's try to execute it again. I'm not sure why it's doing this. It should have shown, okay, the buttons are there. Probably let's see how much it chooses here. Let's put at the 32 distance by force again. But this is simple because we have to keep playing with the design. Okay, now we have two buttons here. I mean, eventually, the idea is that we divided the sections and now we are designing inside sub-pieces, subsections, like first fragment. Core activity has a first fragment in itself, and so on and so on and so on. The behavior is the same as activity, and we will see in the following video how we, for example, add functions and stuff like that.